the knitting game and other stuff. I'm Leslie, your host, and this is episode 25, and it's August 1st, 2012. Well, first thing I want to say is hello to all of my returning viewers, and welcome to everyone who is new this week. For those of you guys who are returning, you may notice that I have a slight change of venue. I'm still at home, but this is my living room. I had the opportunity today to have the house to myself, so I decided to move my recording out of my workroom and just kind of wing it tonight. I wasn't planning on recording. And if you follow me on Plurk earlier this week, I had made an announcement that I wasn't going to record any more shows for a while. The family, we've been going through some very stressful times, and it was getting to the point where I was watching podcasts and seeing all the wonderful yarn and fiber everybody was buying, and all of you indie guys out there, all the vendors and stuff, and I was just feeling kind of down because right now it's just not in the budget for me to make any substantial purchases. So I decided to go on a brief hiatus, and then I started thinking, you know what, it's my show. I can do whatever I want. So I decided that I was going to kind of go casual this week and relax and just kind of kick back and say hi and show you guys what I've been working on. I am not going to have anything up for a vote this week, just because right now I need to kind of step back and I'm still trying to catch up, and I have several projects to work on. But I do think I'm going to have some fun question time and some polls, and I still want you guys to interact. So we'll get to that in a minute. So first of all, the only birthday that we had this week, and I do want to wish everyone that I can a happy birthday, because who doesn't like to have a happy birthday? Ray knits in WA, so I'm guessing Washington. Ray knits in Washington. Her birthday is August 4th, so that is Saturday, which is great. So happy birthday. We didn't have any members join this week, so I can't say hello to anybody new. But if you're a member and you've been a member of a Ravelry group for some time, you know, thank you. I really appreciate it. If you're new and you want to get links to, I guess, the group on Ravelry, or any of the patterns or any of the projects that I talk about, please go to myordinaryjourney.com. It's all one word. That's my blog, and any show notes will be there. There'll be other little tidbits of things that I post on my blog on a regular basis. So go check that out. Some of it can be pretty hysterical. At least I like to think so. Some of the thoughts I have in the morning. I'm so asleep in the shower that it's not as existential as it used to be. I used to have these grand thinking thoughts, especially when I was in school and I was writing papers. I would come up with the best lines, the best arguments. I would think of the best quotes to use in the shower. And of course, you can't write anything down while you're in the shower. So that's why I started Shower Thoughts, if you guys ever wondered. So every day that I take a shower, I post shower thoughts if it's during the week, because I write them once I get into the office and logged in. That's when I write them down and I post them. So those are my shower thoughts. I've noticed that I've been thinking those deep existential thoughts in the car, like, why do I exist? What is my purpose in life? Those kind of like really deep questions, and I just, makes my head hurt, and I'm drinking coffee, so I chalk it up to lack of caffeine. So anyway, I'm going to roll in the question of the week this week and kind of the knitting game into one. So first, I guess the website of the week. It's usually a video blog or a regular blog or a podcast that I want to highlight. This week, just for giggles, if you are not on Pinterest, please go to Pinterest. This site just amazes me, the creativity of the world, that it puts all of these wonderful things together and categorizes them and puts them at your fingertips. So you can go back and find them. It's like online bookmarking crack, but it's so visual, and you get to find things that you would like, and it puts it all in one spot, and everybody finds different things and shares it. And really, if you're not on Pinterest, go, please. It's such a time suck, but it is an amazing time suck. I love it. I have so much fun looking at all the neat stuff that everybody that I'm following. I mean, it's a really neat site. So seriously, if you haven't gone on there, go on there. I'm on Pinterest. You can find me, Pixie 91075. Look for me. I'm out there. If you can't find me, message me on Ravelry, or I think I even have my Pinterest thing on Ravelry. So if you friend me on Ravelry, you can find me over on Pinterest, and you can find me on Plurk. So that's my PSA for the week, I guess. So the question of the week, which is also going to be our knitting game for the week, since I don't have a pattern for you guys to, I guess, choose, but it's going to help me pick the next round of stuff and buy me a little bit more time. So, earlier this week, or I guess last week after I recorded, I was gifted a pattern, and thank you, Leslie, from the Knit Girls, for that. That really, it was a bad day that day, and that just made it so much better. I could cry now thinking about it. So I started thinking, I have all of these free patterns in Ravelry. I mean, I have umpteen gazillion socks, about a trillion different shawls. I've got sweaters and washcloths and all sorts of things, just like my books that I have saved that I want to work on, that is free. I mean, free. How cool is this that these designers actually go out of their way to post patterns for us to use for free? And that is my cat. So usually I'm in my workroom and the door is shut. Today I'm out free roaming on location in my living room. So that is one of our 4 cats. That was Oreo. She is the oldest. She didn't like being shooed away. Anyway, getting back to the patterns. So the question of the week, and also the knitting game poll for this week, is going to be, would you like me to go through my library on Ravelry and pick patterns from there, as well as in my books? Because I was really thinking that it would be nice to do some of the patterns that I have saved. Because if I keep working out of my books, I'm never going to get a chance to use those either. So that is my thinking. Alrighty. So, the knitting game. Last week was the final pick your yarn voting for the knitting game for the Petal Shawlette that was out of the Sock Yarn One Skein Wonders. So we went through and we did 4 weeks of the pattern picking, and then we did 4 weeks of the yarn picking, and it was a nail biter at the end, but I couldn't have been more pleased because, I spun the yarn. I'm not going to lie. I was really hoping that that one would win because I have all this hand spun yarn and I don't ever use it. The first hand spun yarn that I ever used was for the lattice rib hat, which was the first knitting game, and I used my hand spun yarn for that. So yeah, I want to start using my hand spun yarn more. I mean, I go through all the, time to get this yarn the way I want it. Why not use it, right? So I found the perfect yarn. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough of the hand spun. So I was looking through my stash, and as luck would have it, I had a similar weight and a similar color, and it was the same fiber content. It was the Louise Harding Grace hand dyed, and it was wonderful. So these yarns, it's 50-50 merino, wool, and silk, and it's been amazing. Now, I was so excited at the choice you guys made for the yarn. I said, all right, stalagmite socks, you might actually turn out to be a finisher Friday temptation, because I was loving the pattern, but I don't love it that much that I really want to sit through and try to do another sock. And the reason for that is because it's cables, 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 cables. And I am so terrified of dropping stitches and having to fiddle with the cable needle on big things, like on the lattice rib hat, big chunky yarn where I'm not having to do 4 stitch cables, every other set. It's kind of tedious, and it was a lot. And really, life is short, and if you're not happy doing something, why keep doing it? So I'm going to think about it some more, but I have a feeling that's made it on my possible frogget list, which I know you guys went through all the trouble of voting for it, but that is part of the podcast, to let you know how I feel about the patterns. So if I don't like it after I get started with it, I'm going to let you guys know too. And I know it sucks because I'm almost through the first sock. But I cast that thing on, in April? Maybe May. And it's just not where it needs to be, and I'm not in the head place to have to deal with it. So that's the sock. The Sayuri sweater. I was really in love with that Sayuri sweater, I think, for 3 or 4 weeks, and I was just going to town on that baby and just having a grin. I mean, it was knit and purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. Oh, I gotta do a decrease here and a decrease there. Knit, purl, and I worked on that one pretty hardcore for a while, and I still love it. I was so excited with the yarn choice for this week that I decided that I just had to cast on that shawl. And that night after I got done recording, that's exactly what I did. I cast on those stitches and I started. So this is a week later, and this is my Petal Shawlette. Yeah, I've been going crazy on this sucker. I've made it through charts A and chart B1 and B2. Now B1 and B2 are the same, except for B2 you increase the number of times you do the repeat of the second section. So it's the same stitch pattern, you just increase how many times you do it. So now I have moved on to chart C, and like I said, I am just having a blast. So this is upside down. So here is how it's coming. Obviously it is not blocked yet, but I've been posting photos so you can kind of see how it's coming along with the petal pattern and everything. So I think I'm finished with the petals. Now I'm just doing the edge work, and you can see how the yarn, I kind of did it in a fractal when I spun it. It was sort of It's an homage to a fractal spun yarn. It wasn't truly done that way. What I ended up doing is I split the braid in half, and I spun the one half just as is, as it came off the braid. The other half, I broke that down into the different color components, and I spun each color component one at a time in a big long. So there are no repeats in the second ply of yarn. So when I plied it together, you can see that even though this is like a purple section, it still has the green in it. And down here, even though these are more purpley sections, that's because this is where the purple long repeat was, and there's the little splashes of green. So it goes from this green color, and it's working its way down into this purple color. And I had to put my yarn into a plastic bag to go into my project bag. And if you notice, my pants and my project bag today match, because I'm also in my PJs, because I can be. So I'm just pleased as punch with myself today. So as you can see, I'm getting into the outer part of the yarn, and it's getting to this predominantly purple, plum, grape purple color. I guess you can't see it down here, so I'll hold it up. Yes, so as you can see, I'm getting into this purpley kind of color. So once I get done with this, and I'm going to knit until I just can't knit with this anymore. And then I think, if I haven't already transitioned to it, for the very end, this is about 100 yards of the Grace, Louise Harding Grace and Wool hand dye. And you can see, I mean, it complements each other very, I think it'll look very nice as the edging. So, and the edging is, now that I've gotten into the pattern, like really gotten into it, like I love it, I'm a little worried about the edging, because it calls for like a double pointed needle, and I don't have double pointed needles, so I'm gonna have to find another size for circular needle in my stash, which is fine because I have one. But yeah, I think it's because I don't know why. It just says with a cable needle, or not a cable needle, with a circular, I mean a double pointed needle. I have been up since 3:45 in the morning. It's now 6:51. It's almost 7 o'clock. So it's almost time for bed, if you can believe that. Yeah. So even though I'm not part of any of the Ravelinic games, I was knocking some of this out during the opening ceremonies, and I will forever remember the Olympics whenever I see the shawl. So that's kind of like a really neat side effect of working on this like I have been, because it's awesome and I'm having a lot of fun. And why? Because there's no cable work. The most complicated stitch in the whole pattern is one of the slip stitch, knit 2 stitches together, pass the slip stitch over, that decrease. That is about the hardest stitch. You have a knit front, back, and front increase. Okay, but it's still pretty easy. So, another plus is that I'm going to be able to use my blocking wires and pins and my blocking boards that my husband bought me for Christmas that I haven't used yet. So, I'm supposed to block severely, so that is what I will do, and I can't wait. I'm thinking by this time next week it'll be finished, because I'm going to town. I've had to temper the work on this a little bit because I'm working on 2 sculpture pieces that are going to be featured in my Spinners and Weavers Guild 30th anniversary sculpture that is being displayed at the Fredericksburg Museum this October. So I have 2 pieces that I'm working on, and it's kind of funny because I wanted it to be like fun and whimsical, because a lot of the other pieces that the members have been doing have been fun and whimsical. So I found the most gaudy acrylic yarn yesterday at Walmart, and I've had these PVC pieces for the sculpture since March, and I just haven't had the motivation. Well, I have my guild meeting for the first time since April on Saturday on the 4th, so I needed to really get my fanny in gear and get those pieces turned in so they can put the sculpture together. But I'm coming up with some really neat pieces, and if you follow me on Plurk, you might have seen one of the pictures I just posted. It's kind of it's not the best picture. It's hard to photograph it. It really is. A flat, two-dimensional image just is not going to do this piece justice because it is very three-dimensional. Not only is the yarn three-dimensional, but the piece is very three-dimensional. It's not at all what I had originally envisioned. I was going to do this very poignant piece about the earth, and I just decided I scrapped that because that was just not, I wasn't feeling that part and that construction and what I was going to do with that. So I transitioned, and I wanted to go fun and whimsy, and that's what I've done. So, with that being said, I have a feeling that this is going to be finished next week because I am just flying through the sucker, and I have decided I really love shawls because if all it is yarn overs and knit a few together, as long as I can keep my counts straight, which I've had problems with that. I've had to tink back 128 stitches because I've been flying through this so quickly. I haven't been putting lifelines in because, I mean, I really, by the time I find a mistake, I'm so far down the road. You know, I go back and check constantly. I'm a big counter. I do a lot of counting when I knit, and I count by 3. I don't know who else does that, but when I count my stitches, I count by 3. It goes faster than counting by 2, and I can't add quick enough the 4s, multiple 4s in my head. So I count by 3, and I don't know why. It's just how I do it. So I think that this will be done next week, long story short. So I'm using my hand spun. I'm using the Louisa Harding Grace hand dyed. The needles that I'm using, I have to tell you, I'm really, really loving these needles. These are my Chowgu lace needles, and they are like knitting with silk, on silk. I mean, they're just like butter. It is so nice. It has just enough catch. Then I don't know how to describe the needle itself. It's a slick nickel, but it's brushed just enough to give it just a little bit of a texture, so my stitches just aren't flying everywhere, and it just, the cable is amazing, and it's nice and sturdy, and I'm not having to worry if I'm going to rip it out. It doesn't kink at all. It's great. I can't tell you enough how much I'm really enjoying using these needles. And they're lace needles, and I'm knitting lace, so I think that's highly appropriate. So there's that. So that is the update on my knitting game projects. Well, I am moving on, and that's all the knitting that I really did this week. My daughter got a really bad sunburn when she went to a concert festival down in Virginia Beach last week, and she asked me to knit her like an ice pack cover. So I went out and I picked up a bunch of cotton yarn, which I guess I should have brought over, but since I'm winging it, I figure it's cotton. It's not even a washcloth. I'm knitting a tube for her to put ice in. What are you going to do? So that's it for knitting. So on to spinning. I did get 2 club shipments. These, I had to cancel my club shipments for a while, but I got the last 2 shipments in this week. So the first one, this is from the Spunky Eclectic Club, and this is A Bug's Life, and this is 4 ounces of Portuguese merino wool top, and I haven't even taken it out of the package yet because my life is just so crazy. But it makes me giggle because it's got some of the most garish and bright fluorescent green. I didn't even think you could get fluorescent green, but she's done it. Because, yeah, there's some fluorescent green in here. That I saw a pop of orange, but you get it. It's a Bug's Life. It was inspired by the garden. So I don't know what I do with it. I'll spin it up and figure it out. But I think the fluorescent green in it is like hilarious. It just trips me out. Well, green must have really been on the minds of everybody this month, because my other shipment from the Painted Tiger Club is also green. But her, it's Brooke, her inspiration came from bamboo. Not only is the color green as in bamboo, but the fiber itself is bamboo. But it is not the bamboo that is reminiscent of silk, that is the byproduct of, I guess, the production of rayon. This is called, let me see, it's different. It's bamboo bast, B-A-S-T. And she says that you're supposed to spin it up in a way similar to linen, and that's how it's best spun. And she's going to have some tutorials and things up on her Ravelry board. So I have to be honest, I'm not really crazy with the way it feels. I mean, it's 4 ounces, and it's not fluffy, it's not dense, it's pretty compact, and it's not because of the way she shipped it. It's the way that the fiber is really close together. It's a really dense, stringy kind of fiber, and it doesn't feel soft. You can definitely tell there's like a grain to it almost. I don't know. We'll see. This might be, I don't know. If it's feltable, I might felt it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But, yes. This is the actual fiber from the plant, not the processed rayon stuff. It spins and wears similar to linen. So I guess we'll see. So that was it for my club fiber, and I have one more shipment from the Tri-Dye Club. I can't remember who it's from. I got Fiber Charmer. I think it might be Gail's Art. I think that might be my final one. So I have one more shipment coming, and I'll probably be here, of course, tomorrow. But then that means next week I have something to show you. And yes, I did say next week. I just like doing the podcast too much to just say, you know what, I'm going to put it on hold. Yes, life is horrible. Yes, please, everybody keep your fingers crossed. But I think it'll be okay, and we'll be okay, and it's just things that happen in life. And that which does not kill you makes you stronger, and if it does kill you, well, it was your time to go anyway. So that answers the question of why am I here, and what am I supposed to do, and what's life all about. So, yeah. Car thoughts, that's why I don't post them. They're very deep in there, and nobody wants to see that, so... I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's a little bit different. I have the TV going over here because I'm just crazy about the Olympics, so I've got it on all the time now. Even at the office, I have a big TV by my desk, and I have it on 1 for the volume, so the only person that can hear it is me. So I've been having a good time this week. Well, that's about it. Don't forget to vote. Again, the question is, would you like to see me use patterns out of my library on Ravelry? And if I do use them, if you guys do say, yeah, sure, why not? I will do ones that are free. So if maybe I want to do another knit along, everybody can join. Oh, and one other note I wanted to say real quick before I go about this petal shawl. It's in the book Sock Yarn One Skein Wonders. But I was perusing the projects that people have already completed, and one of them was done in a DK weight yarn using size 8 needles instead of size 4. And she did not increase the stitches or repeats or anything like that. She knit it straight from the pattern as written, but because she increased the size of the yarn and the needles, it came out to be a full-size shawl, and it was gorgeous. And you know what, I'm going to find that one and I'll link it so you guys can see how amazing a difference it can make with just the size of the yarn and the size of the needles, what kind of product you produce. And it's a great example of gauge and how gauge can be different, even if you're using the same pattern. So I just thought I'd mention that because I found that fascinating this morning when I was looking. So again, thank you for stopping by. I hope you come back next week, and don't forget to vote. Bye.